So I'm filming a music video today. Big Boy Raps was kind enough to let me use their shop to film it. I do have some challenges I'm gonna have to overcome though. For example, this is, a car wrap business, so I can't really film anywhere in the shop. That's not really gonna work for us. So I'm limited to just this upstairs mezzanine. I mean, over here, there's like a water heater. They have all kinds of tools and stuff in here. This part isn't really gonna work for me. So I'm pretty much limited to just this back room in here. And this is normally where I shoot my backyard wrestling history video, so I'm familiar with this location. But it's got a very industrial look. It's got very low ceilings. It's very cramped. I don't have a ton of room to work with. So there's absolutely gonna be a challenge to make this work. Now, I do have like 4 or 5 different ideas of things I can do in this space as far as lighting and camera position and blocking goes to make this look as different as possible. I'm pretty sure I can get like 3, 4, 5 different looks out of this space, and I should be able to make it work, but it's definitely gonna be a challenge.
I say like rain, you know what I'm saying? And then
Yeah, we'll do the green screen stuff first, and I figure I want to shoot some other stuff too, just to mix things up.
of course.
So then the first shot I got was just Evan performing on my little portable green screen. I just clipped that to the backdrop I already had set up. I then got the same shot with Lorenzo. He was wearing a green sweatshirt though, so I just switched my green screen around to the blue screen side. With these green screen shots with Lorenzo, Evan had talked about wanting to do stuff with rain and having rain be a motif. So if I come into Fusion here, I can kind of break down my comp. So I have my shot of Lorenzo that I shot on the blue screen. I'm keying out the blue on that blue screen. I'm masking out the corners, and I'm putting him on top of this clean plate I have here of just a thunderstorm. So we end up with this shot here, but then I still want some foreground elements to add some depth. So I have another shot of just heavy rain. And so I took that, threw that on top, changed the blending mode to screen. So now there's rain in front of him, there's rain behind him. I scaled up the rain in front of him because since it's closer to the camera, it should be larger than the rain in the background. And that's our shot there. And then just some color grading to tie it into the rest of the piece here.
If I said I wasn't tired, I'd be lying, but you just keep on crying.
So one idea I had is, Evan, I was gonna black out all these lights, put a spotlight over your head shining down, so it's just you and a spotlight, black void. We can do that.
Yes.
We can use that for both communication and then cut back to it during the Why You Crying.
So I literally brought 2 outfits for each one, so it's perfect. So then each one will kind of cut into something else.
Cool.
That's cool.
Perfect. For the next shot, I just took down the backdrop, killed all the lights. I have a small rig tube light that I mounted to the ceiling, and then used barn doors to flag off the light to make sure it's only hitting Evan with this overhead spotlight. I wanted this to kind of fall into darkness as much as possible, kind of create this endless void look.
Gave you my back, you gave me a knife. How could you do me like that, girl? I thought we was tight. You say I don't communicate like you trustworthy.
And then when we the green screen, we can use this backdrop. I brought that chair down from the waiting room.
Perfect.
I figure I could set that up here, have you doing your thing in the chair.
Yep.
I brought my slider so we can get some nice smooth movement, fit the flow of the song and everything. And then this is the next setup I put together. I just took one of the chairs from the waiting room and brought it upstairs to this little mezzanine area. And then I have my RGB lights off to the side here, lighting this whole area with this blue color because he's wearing yellow and I wanted to contrast that. I also have a parabolic softbox just off camera acting as his key light. And then I also have an LED panel on the ground pointing up just to make sure we fill in his face here because he is wearing this hat that is going to block some of the light going into his face. So I want to fill that in as much as possible. But then I just get this wide shot pushing in and out on my slider, and once I have that shot, I then come in and I do a close-up with that same setup, but now I'm going side to side on my slider and I'm parallaxing to keep him in the frame. And I told him just lock eyes with the camera. As the camera goes back and forth, just follow it. So I have a wide and a close-up I can cut to. This shot here where Evan's doing this motion with his hand. And I figured, hey, I can accentuate that and kind of elevate this scene a bit and make it kind of cool. So I did go into Fusion and create a magic mask around him, which I then tracked since the dolly's moving in and out and he's also moving. And then that meant I could come in here and I could duplicate this shot and I could have these different Evans appear as he's gesturing with his hands, and I timed these motions so that way when he points, bam, the next one appears, and then as soon as he points again, they go away. And it was just something I could do to help elevate his performance, add a little pizzazz to the video here.
I'd rather let you have it than have you leaving for some dumb reason. Then we not speaking, then we not freaking, then I'm tweaking. Make up sex, I'ma have you.
And then the other idea I had, because for Lorenzo, I don't want your stuff to look exactly the same as Evans. I want to try and switch it up a bit. So this area, it's got a real industrial, rustic look to it. I figure we can lean into that.
Yeah.
You know, like, remember the Miss Jackson video where they try to fix the house that's falling apart?
Yes.
It's a metaphor for the relationship. So we can do something like that. What I was thinking is taking down this backdrop, and then these lights here, I can set them to flash like that, so I can have everything black except for a spotlight over you. Flash the background like this while you're doing your thing.
See, this is why I wanted him to do this, bro, because he got the best ideas. I'm telling you, bro. Yes. Right. Yes. I'm messing with it, bro. I'm 100% on it.
Hell yeah! All right.
For
Lorenzo, I basically just did the same setup I did for Evan. The difference is I then took my LED panels and set those to strobe. So this is going to flash and light up the background here, almost like lightning or a paparazzi camera flash. But then I still have a key light on him, so he's always lit up, and it's just the background that's flashing in and out. And the same thing, I come in for that close-up with the side-to-side parallax.
What you crying for? Shit feel haunted, but you got what you wanted. Bitch, stop crying. Say what you crying for. Don't know why we fighting, but it's for you that I be dying. Why the fuck is you crying? Can't you see I'm involved? If I said I wasn't tired, I'd be lying, but you just keep on crying.
All right, so that's a wrap. They were really impressed with what I was able to pull off in this tiny little space here. So now I just got to put my money where my mouth is and make sure all this comes together in the edit. In order to make editing this music video as fast and as easy as possible, once I have all my media imported, I'm going to start adding everything to a timeline. Once I have all my takes added, I can go ahead and sync everything up, and then I can convert this timeline into a multicam clip. So now I don't have to constantly resync all my media every time I cut to a different take. It's already synced up. I just have one big multicam clip that I can cut between as I'm editing this. I can then also go into that multicam clip, name each track, so that way all the different angles have names as well, and it's going to be super easy for me to just switch back and forth between whatever angle I want. Another important thing with the edit is color grading, because that's how it looks out of the camera, which is fine, but I really wanted to bring some color into this, really stylize this a bit, so I am color grading this down to dial in the look that I want. Now, since I only have 8 shots in one location, I did want to elevate this video as much as possible, so I did license a whole bunch of stock footage. So I grabbed this shot here of this abandoned building during like a cloudy thunderstorm, and I can use that right here at the beginning as almost like an establishing shot, so that way when we're cutting inside to these shots here, it looks like we're inside that abandoned building, and I'm using like the Kuleshov effect to make people think this is where we are. We're in this abandoned building, as opposed to, oh, we're in some rap shop. Just trying to tie everything together with a story and a theme. And then I just have shots of like falling rain throughout this, because we wanted rain to be a motif. But I'm trying to make sure I'm not just throwing stock footage in here for the sake of throwing it in there. I'm throwing it in here to help tell a story. So right at the beginning, I have a shot of, you know, this umbrella walking down a rainy street, and then halfway through the video, once again we have this woman with that umbrella in the middle of the rain, and then at the very end of the video we're ending with just the umbrella by itself. So even with the stock footage, we're telling a story that has a beginning and a middle and an end. And then even with this shot here, I wanted to keep this abstract. I didn't like that you could see her face. I didn't like how bright this was, so I did grade it down quite a bit. And then if I come in here to the color tab, in addition to grading it down, I did also add a power window to her face and graded it down even more, because I really wanted her to be abstract, almost like a silhouette in the middle of this rainstorm, so that way, as the viewer, you can put anybody here. You can put your own girlfriend, your own ex-girlfriend, your own spouse, whoever it is, as opposed to, oh, this person from this generic stock footage clip. I wanted to just keep it abstract. For this opening interlude, which is called Communication, Song didn't really have an intro, it just kind of started.
Gave you my back, you gave me a knife. How could you do me like that, girl? I thought we was tight.
And I really wanted there to be at least some kind of like interlude so I could ease us into the song. I didn't want to just jump in cold like that. So I took part of the song, copied it, moved it to the beginning, and then used the music remixer in Resolve Studio to mute the vocals and turn this into an instrumental. So now I can basically kind of like create an interlude to this song before we get going.
Gave you my back, you gave me a knife.
So that's how I was able to pull this all together. I do have the link for the full video in the description below. All that's left for me to do now is send this off and hope he likes it.